Let me
Sure,
introduce
sure.
everyone. Good morning, everyone. I'm Vasundhara, your event coordinator from Shine.com. I would like to welcome each one of you for attending the Shine HR Live. Our speakers for today will be Mr. Bhavesh Patel, Talent Partner at Wipro Limited, Mr. Vishal Bansal, Talent Acquisition APJ at HP Inc., Mr. Sampath Kumar B. Arathi, Global Sales Training at Lab Holding AG, and Mr. Ashish Kakre, Founder HR Shapers, will be moderating the discussion on the topic COVID-19 Impact on the Jobs of the Future. Before we start the session, I would like to highlight some features which can be used during the webinar. There will be few polls which will be launched in between the discussion. Please participate and share your inputs. There is a Q&A option where any of you can ask questions from the speaker. Request you to please share questions. Our speakers will try to answer them either in between or will pick questions later in Q&A session. Now I would request Mr. Ashish Kakre to please take over from here.
Yeah, thanks, Vasundhara. Thanks for a nice introduction. Welcome, everyone. Good morning. So we are starting before time. Okay, another webinar I am experienced. It's good that we start before time or on time. Okay. So Sampath and Bhavesh, yeah. Thanks for joining. And so yeah, topic is very critical, sensitive. We all talk about this impact on the job of the future. And this is how it has been happening since last 2 to 3 months. Yeah, we cannot blame anyone because this is kind of natural calamity. We can say man-made natural calamity, or I don't know how did it happen. But yes, so what we are going to discuss today, we have two esteemed speakers. They are from HR and talent acquisition field, and they will share their insight on various norms. What we'll discuss about digital learning, remote, full-time versus contractual job, gig economy, then how the salary structure will take place, what about the job title, because role, it will be role based, project based, then people will look for designation or not, and which kind of job will be created, which kind of industry up and down, how this will continue to be there for next 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, and then again we'll discuss about the designation and degree qualification, because we Indian prefer to hire people only from reputed institute. What will happen to those, and obviously reskilling and upskilling. So I leave it up to my panelists to to give insight, and I'll request one by one. Start from Sampath, then Bhavesh. Just introduce yourself in a short, and then we can start on the topic.
Sure. Thank you very much, Ashish. Thanks to Shine.com for the opportunity. As Ashish mentioned, my name is Sampath Kumar Arati. I've been in the HR field for about 20 years now, 20 years and a few months, predominantly in human resources. And in the past 3 years, based out of Germany. In the past 3 years, though I'm back in India now, playing a global role on the sales training, responsible for sales training in about 40 countries. So my experience has predominantly been in the software and manufacturing. Started off my career with Bosch, was with them for 11 years, out of which 2 years I spent in Germany. And then I moved to another German company called Software AG, where I worked for another 3-4 years as the head of HR. And now I've been with Lab for 8 years now, and past 3 years, as I mentioned, in a different role. So it's a wonderful opportunity, and as and when Ashish throws open certain topics, I would love to share my perspective as to what is happening. I'm sure a lot of us, or almost all of us, being at home, have been updated day in and day out through TV news. But let's look at it more from a corporate aspect. That's all from my side, Ashish, as of now.
Thanks. Okay, we have Vishal also now in. Vishal, welcome to. You can hear us, Vishal?
Vishal, we can't hear you.
We're just doing audio check, then we already started, so just doing audio check.
Vishal, we are not able to hear you. Maybe you're on mute, Vishal.
Okay,
I
let's
would request you to please join again with the audio connection.
yeah. So let's move to now Bhavesh. Bhavesh, he will join, then we'll go to him. Yeah, let's go
Sure.
ahead.
Yeah. Thanks, Ashish. Again, I mean, thanks, Sampath, as well for joining in. I think it's a brilliant opportunity, and the fact that we have quite a lot of us joining in early morning in India, at least. So, thank you for providing that opportunity. Uh, my name is Bhavesh Patel. Been with this industry for about 16 odd years, and I've essayed various roles in HR, starting from talent acquisition to talent transformation. Primarily, the core aspect that I've always stuck to is HR business partnering, and it's been about a year and a half with Wipro, prior to which I've had stints with Capgemini, with IBM, with Genpact, and with a small finance bank called Jana. So that's a brief about me, and I think Ashish, both you and Sampath hit it on the head that there have been ample amount of webinars. A lot of us are already aware of what's happening by virtue of various communication mediums and all of that. But I think what we can leave the folks who've joined with the aspects of what actually happens in the corporations more than anything else. So yeah, looking forward.
Yeah, that's true, Bhavesh and Sampath. A lot of webinar happening, but we don't know same set of people who join here. That's one thing to look into. Second is we always need a refresher course, you know. So because out of 10 point, you know, we may remember one, but yes, it's better to go through all of them and you know pick up rest of them as well. It's a good
True.
exercise for us as well. In the entire learning, in the entire process, we also learn. Vasundhara, please let us know. Should we wait for Vishal to join?
Yes,
Since he's
sir. He's
already
just joining. Yeah, he's just joining in a minute.
okay. Okay, great. Yeah, I think though out of scope, you know, let me just keep some point here. One of the major section of the people impacted is the student. Okay, Vishal is here. Vishal, you can hear us?
Hi, I can hear you, Ashish. Am I
Yes,
audible
yes.
now?
So, yeah, you are. You are.
Great.
So, so welcome, Vishal. We already started. It's just you know brief introduction from Sampath and Bhavesh done. Now look forward your introduction, and then we'll shoot out with you know question and you know looking for all of your inputs.
Sure. Um, I'm Vishal. I'm part of HP Inc. I take care of talent acquisition group over here in Bangalore. I'm based out of Bangalore, and I have worked in earlier companies like service companies like TCS, Infosys. Around 15 years experience, and I'm really looking forward for to have more learning from this webinar about like where we are heading to, and looking forward to share my inputs also in this regard.
That was nice brief introduction. Okay, so here we are. You know, uh, since COVID is impacted, and we all know, you know, essential service industry is only the booming industry at this moment. Okay, when even on lockdown, whatever you can say will start. Even essential services being given more priorities. So my first question to all of you, let's start with Bhavesh. Bhavesh, you're from IT. Vishal is also from IT, and Sampath is, I would say, Sampath is more of a manufacturing or which industry I can say.
Yeah. Currently with LAP, which is a manufacturing company, last 8 years. But otherwise, I've worked in software services and software product companies.
Yeah. So some data says you know software industry, technology industry also getting hit. I'm not sure how much it is true, but looking at the digitalization, the way it is happening, you know, IT industry is a good opportunity to ramp up. You know, maybe change their business model. So Bhavesh, then one by one we'll go. Which kind of industry you know we can say is going up, going down? What's your views on this? What's your study?
See, today, thanks, Ashish, and I would say from a industry perspective, I think barring a couple of industries, every industry is taken a hit. I mean, these are paradoxical times, and the virus has kind of taken a toll on each and every industry that we can think of, be it hospitality, be it service, or be it entertainment for that matter. So I think a lot has changed, and I think it's time for all of us to perhaps take a pause and start looking at how do we respond and reimagine a new world that we're going to face. So I think in more or less, I think every industry has taken a hit. The advantage that the service industry will perhaps have is the fact that it has become such a big disruptor that digital working has come perhaps 5 years early than what it would have uh, easily. I mean, they say that 2025 has actually come in 2020. So with the advent of digital tsunami, I think all the organizations will improvise their strategies, will invest in technology like never before.
Great. So we'll come back to, so right now we are just discussing about the based on the industry, we will need to get into, or if you are in the same industry and the different kind of jobs are coming, do we need to change what organization taking initiative and all? So let me come to Vishal now. Vishal, you please give your views, which are the industry up and down.
So, it's not like that no one is saying like all those industries which are primarily into the contact or like face-to-face business, especially from transport or like hospitality, restaurant industries and all. They all are badly hit, and aviation especially. And there is no sign of their recovering also in next 1 or 2 years. Or like they have a serious impact on all of their business model as well as the employees working into these industries. But there are silver lining also. Like a majority of the companies are looking to continue. In case you have to survive, you have to continue evolving your business models. Especially we are seeing like there is a huge boom in a digital business or the industries also. Most of the IT services businesses are shifting their more focus on digital, how better they can complement their core domain clients, and help them revive or continue with their revenue models also. So digital again, when we're investing a lot of time around us, if you look at it, a lot of things have come, especially in health industry also. The way we are learning education technology, everyone is standing on the digital model, and that's definitely going to stay. That's as like Bhavesh rightly said. We were seeing like what we could have expected 5 years later, but this is expected in this is expedited in just 2 months, 2 or 3 months. Apart from this, I think like when digital and no one was ready when this tsunami of digital hit us. It has brought challenges also, like security, security challenger, digital security, cyber security is one of the core area where people are investing and organizations are seeing like, okay, entire of population, for example, IT services or like core domain, most of their employees got shifted to the work from home within 15 to 20 days. This brought a lot of challenges in cyber security, and how do we continue monitoring employees and giving services to our clients. Another aspect, probably what I'm seeing is especially infrastructure side also. When this lockdown happened, everyone thought, okay, this would be for 20 days or 1 month, when especially from India scenario. But now we are sitting in the 4 month now. Everyone is seeing impact on our lives. We are looking for similar kind of infrastructure what we were experiencing in our offices at home now. The chair, Wi-Fi, and our big screens and all similar kind of inputs. And similar, how do we connect this with our organization infrastructure also? So these are preliminary what we are seeing, but how new business models will evolve, we will see 2 or 3 months down the line as well. That these are my views.
Great, Vishal. Sampath, over to you now.
Since Bhavesh and Vishal have already spoken, not too much to add, but just to add from a manufacturing perspective as well. Yeah, it's much easier in software companies where employees can be asked to work from home. But when you look at it from a factory perspective, it's obviously still not. The reason I stress the word still not is because what we wanted, at least in India, to look at smart factories with very minimal staff, we wanted to do it a few years ahead after, for example, as Bhavesh rightly mentioned, something which we wanted to do in 2025, we have started looking at now. The same thing is happening with the manufacturing companies. So since, especially with the aspects of social distancing and so many other features which are very necessary to keep the pandemic away, factories have also started looking at making it a smart factory. Let's have very minimal intervention of people required. Yeah, if this is on the production side, if I look at Salesforce, because I'm currently responsible for sales, and just before this call, we had a training which we started for remote selling. I'm sure even the customers, the end customers, are worried about their own health. So they would not like to meet face to face. What earlier used to be a mandated face to face meeting before we sign a deal, I'm sure the customers would say, okay, let's do a con call, a video call. And we need to update our sales selling skills. So that is another aspect of it. So in my view, though it's a no-brainer to say that industries like travel and restaurant hotel industry is badly impacted, so are others. But to me, one of the key aspects which I'm seeing is innovation is becoming the key. A lot of companies are trying to innovate, even with respect to people. I mean, work from home. Not many managers, we all know, at least in the Indian context, whether we trust or the willingness of a manager to see his team face to face was not always an option, but today it has become compulsory. If you have to serve your clients, you better allow your employees to work from home. So is it that overnight the trust factor increased from the managers? We don't know, but it is a compulsion. So I'm sure with this, the new leadership competencies also come into picture. If you have to be a successful leader, possibly what you were in the past will not help. So that also impacts, and possibly we will touch about it when we look at the reskilling part of it, or what is that the companies would look at in the future. Maybe in one of the questions in the future. But that's my take on the first aspect of the question, Ashish.
Thanks, Sampath, Bhavesh, and Vishal. Like Sampath, you are saying, smart factory. Yeah. So that was one of the core objective of future of work prerequisite. Vishal also touched upon what was supposed to happen before 5. It has been happening actually since last 2 to 3 months. We have seen that or it may be happening faster than what we can assume. Good. So we touch upon industries, and now next question. Uh, do you think skill set may be different? What we are looking for now. The kind of people we have, we need to change their skill set. If yes, who's responsible? Whether company, whether employee, or someone else. We can talk about the lateral. We can talk about the entry level. Both set of employee. Who has to take the initiative, because we are in the digital world where everything is accessible, and education sector we talk about, it's booming like anything. So we are seeing a lot of apps which is there already in your hand, and many company would like to invest in training on, or I don't know. So reskills one part we want to touch upon, and who is responsible for this. Let's reshuffle. So let me start with Vishal now.
So let me summarize. Like what you are asking is basically like what skills are emerging both from lateral as well as campus perspective. Um, so my view here is, especially what we are seeing in last 3 to 4 months is that education sector, especially from campus perspective, it got democratized. Like especially it's no longer the same kind of students which is there in Ivy League colleges or Tier 1 colleges, and those segments which are in rural colleges are on the same platform or on the same digital platforms. There may be difference in their infrastructure and all, but you have the same option to take the subscription whether you are in rural area or like you're in metro or in different colleges. So we were seeing the students are no longer dependent on a particular college or their academia heavily, which we were seeing earlier. How it is changing primarily is it's giving everyone the same platform and same kind of understanding how to upskill themselves. We are seeing that there are a lot of emergence of complementary skill sets. When you will go next time in front of the employer, those skill sets which you have been training yourself from years in college is there. That's the main skill set. But everyone is asking you, okay, what else you are bringing on the table? How open you are to change yourself, your core domain frequently, because we saw multiple industries getting finished in very quick succession time. Are you open to change your entire mindset? Are you there to come out of a comfort level and learn new thing in short frame? So that kind of soft skills, that kind of attitude, you have to build upon going forward. And probably if I will go to hire in a campus, I probably will be looking for the same kind of talent. Uh, are you okay? In case I give you option A, option B, and are you also okay to develop option C also in these two options as well? So because no one has any answered, okay, this no one has this kind of a concept anymore, that like you will continue to work in a single skill set, single domain for throughout your life. That's not going to happen anymore. The as we had the old saying, the only constant is change, and we are seeing in front of our eyes now. So that's what my main intention is to say about campus, that developing complementary skills is the way going forward, and it is going to stay. Especially if we are looking those skill sets from lateral side also, as I said, like cloud, cybersecurity, um, uh, marketing side also, how you're presenting yourself, because when you are communicating on digital platform, how you're marketing yourself, your group, your organization, your brand is at most mandatory. The marketing side also, the complete business model has changed. It's no longer face to face, no longer heavy investment on those heavy infrastructure which we used to do earlier. uh, Data as well as business analysis are emerging skill set in the current scenario. How you're looking at things, how you're helping your clients to put things into cloud also. How better you can utilize cloud, and how, as I said, like you can bring down to the lowest level of your employer as well. If I'm hiring a someone, or if I'm putting my documents or like my client inputs into cloud, so top to down, that's another aspect what we're seeing apart from digital. These are my views, Ashish.
Thanks, Vishal. I think yeah, you kind of elaborate very much in detail. I go to Bhavesh, and before Bhavesh, I'm launching a poll, but you continue your conversation. Yeah, that will be kind of next point of discussion. Over to you, Bhavesh.
Sure. So thanks, Ashish. And I think you're right that Vishal kind of spoke about most of the aspects that will come to the fore. From a leadership perspective, or from a behavioral aspect, I see that the leaders of tomorrow will have to have a lot of empathy, will have to start trusting their staff much more than they ever have, and that will kind of entail an emergence of new roles like chief empathy officer. For example, there have been a lot of organizations who are already advertising for roles like chief storyteller, mental well-being officers, counselors, and whatnot. So I think with the lines getting blurred on whether I work from home or I work for home, I think what will happen is the whole aspect of mental well-being will become extremely important, and I think organizations will have to start catering to those needs as well, and those skills will come into play. From a technicality perspective, Vishal did touch upon the whole aspect of data being the core of our existence. In fact, I heard Rishad saying it in the last NASCOM summit, that if you torture your data enough, it'll confess to everything, and that kind of stuck on. So jobs primarily which is related to data literacy, data science, data analytics, data visualization will obviously come to the fore. We also spoke about the whole aspect of cybersecurity becoming important. So folks who are in cloud computing, cybersecurity, machine learning, blockchain, I think those are the guys, or those are the skill sets which become extremely critical in times to come. Having said this, so while I did speak about some of the hard skills, I think the most important skill that all of us need to have is the aspect of learnability, which is the ability to learn, unlearn, and relearn. So what will make a difference is perhaps a set of folks who will be able to jump from one skill to the other without having an iota of doubt in their minds. So the fact, if you're open, if you're transparent, and if you have the ability to learn and unlearn new skills, I think that is what will make a difference.
Thanks. Yeah, learning will always be like, we should be learner at any point of time. Great. So thanks once again, that was first point of discussion. It was second, I would say, so more on which kind of skill set we should be. We got a lot of input, and the poll which I have conducted, the question was, how much you will be comfortable with remote working and work from home option. Because yes, uh, every company is moving work from home option. Like Sampath says, some of the manufacturing, many is struggling to do that. It may take some time. So the result is like this. Around 36% people says yes. They will be able to comfortable to work from home. So that's how the poll is. And uh, beside that, there is no option. I mean, you need to work from home whether you are in XYZ, depend upon the role as well. Also, because it's more government driven whether you can be on the road or not. Yeah, great. So question now, how much you guys, first of all, three of you are comfortable from work from home. What about your team? That's one question. Beside that, how your manager look at work from home, how the leadership look at work from home. Do we need some different kind of setup, infrastructure, logistic when it is work from home? Is it everything provided? Is everything people have at home? Is there anything company should do additionally so that productivity can be increased? So various question I'm clubbing up. Pick up, your best question and please answer. And you can touch all of them as well. Let's start with Sampath. I can reshuffle now.
Okay, my perspective on work from home, personally, I would not love to work from home given a choice, because especially being in HR, we love to be with people, talk to people. But as Ashish rightly mentioned, there is no choice here. And for me personally, as I mentioned, I was in Germany and I started working from home from September because of personal reasons. My wife could not get an extension in her sabbatical, so I had to return back. My manager had trust. I use the word trust. I was thinking of staying back in Germany alone and my family come back. But I was so surprised when he called me and said, Sampath, I have seen you work for the past 2 years. Whether you are here in India or here in Germany or in India, it really doesn't matter for me, because I know I trust you and it's a global role. So that actually opened up my eyes, because I was just thinking, would an Indian manager at that point in time, September, remember, there was nothing called Corona or nothing like that. How many of the Indian managers would have done? And from my own experience, I don't think we would have been so comfortable allowing our team members to work from home. So with that personal experience that I can share working from home ever since September, it has been now an evolution. Yes, being in India, unfortunately, most of you would agree with me that there are challenges that we have with respect to the infrastructure, maybe the bandwidth, especially internet bandwidth. A lot of us get dropped out in the calls. There is a lot of noise in the house, because especially with the kids being at home, you cannot stop that. And I have seen this personally. We feel a bit embarrassed when we have a call, global calls, and there is some background noise. I tend to get a bit angry on my kids. But then it is my managers and my colleagues from other countries who made me feel comfortable, because let's admit, in other countries, at least in Germany, I can openly speak, there are hardly any kids to disturb them. Yeah, because majority of them don't have kids. Yeah, I mean, this might look like a very silly thing to quote, but the fact is, I know of colleagues who are feeling embarrassed or tense, because you never know when there is a power cut. You never know when the internet goes off. So to avoid all this, what I also know is some companies, I'm sure some of you have already read about it. I know even my previous employer, Software AG, for example, they've gone ahead and said, we will give X amount of money to every employee to set up that infrastructure at home, including buying a ergonomically designed chair. Yeah, I mean, as Ashish asked, how do we improve productivity? One is on the infrastructure part, other is on the trust part. If you have a manager who keeps calling you every 15 minutes just to check, oh, are you at home? Are you on this job? this will not work, because we all are human beings. As much as we want to be social, want to see each other, the fact that I would love that somebody trusts me, and believe me, from my own personal experience, when your manager starts trusting you, you do 110%, 120% of what you're expected to do. I've heard this from very many people. Though we have started working from home, I'd love to go back to office because at least I have a start time and an end time. Today it starts at 8 and goes on till 8 in the night, so more than 12 hours. Yeah. So this is my take. The companies can certainly help, because especially if we look at people down the lane where finances are a struggle, because a lot of companies have gone for salary cuts. These small gestures from companies where they take care part cost or full cost in some companies does help, because in India at least, infrastructure, especially the internet bandwidth, connectivity, electricity, is a challenge. That's my view on it.
So we'll come to Bhavesh, but I like to share a few things. So I saw one post on LinkedIn, guys, and the lady mentioned that company has sent the chair on which she was sitting in the office, sent it by courier, and then she was so happy and she posted on LinkedIn. It is there, yeah. Uh, uh, I don't know about other kind of setup. Some company must just introduce some allowances. Then some company who didn't have laptop. Not everybody has a laptop, right? Many people work on desktop. Many companies started giving desktop. You carry your desktop. Yeah,
Yes.
that was new normal, we can say. Yes, Bhavesh, look forward to hear you on this topic.
Yes, I think Sampath has covered most of it, and to be honest, I think the whole scenario of work from home, to me personally, is extremely blurry because, as Sampath was saying, I mean, I don't know when to, I know when to log in, but I just don't know when to log out. I don't know when am I working for home or I'm working from home. So obviously the aspect of a lot of household chores when you're at home come into play. The kid aspect of it, the folks making noise outside the building, and so on and so forth. So there are a lot of distractions, but I think the way the customers, the leadership, your own team members have accepted the whole aspect, I think it's brilliantly done. And I actually happen to be in a lot of customer calls when customers have gone back and said, you know what, hey, I would want to say hi to your kid. So I think that makes you extremely comfortable. What perhaps doesn't work with me again personally is the aspect that, as Sampath was again saying, that we are all HRs, we love to interact with human beings and not with a camera. So for now, while it's difficult, but I think all of us will have to very soon adapt to looking into your laptop and imagining that there are 90 or 100 people who are listening to you attentively to add to that. From a support perspective, again, speaking about Wipro per se, I mean, we had a challenge of getting 1,85,000 people going on work from home almost suddenly. And I think the background work which has happened in terms of being able to courier those laptops, being able to ensure that the connectivity, the infrastructure with respect to the bandwidth, the chairs, ensuring that VDI, the work home space, and all of that is done is, I think, something that not just Wipro, but a lot of organizations have brilliantly managed. I mean, if any of us would have been asked this question, let's say in Jan of 2020, that do you think by April we can go, if not more, 90% work from home across the globe, we would have all gawked at that whole statement, and I don't think any one of us would have agreed. But I think we've seen how kind of stepped up. We've seen how leadership has stood together, and I think it's a brilliant story. And then there are tons of stories doing the rounds in social media in terms of how organizations, customers, employees, all of them have kind of come together and build a successful relationship. And yeah, trust, as they say. I mean, Tom Friedman lately said that trust is going to be the only legal performance enhancing factor. And I think that that's something that all of us need to live with. All of us need to trust our folks, and likewise for our managers as well. And I think for me personally, I think it's working beautifully. But yes, I would want to go back to office very soon.
So yes, I will have follow-up question on this, and quick response would be needed. I can put it right now. You can keep thinking. It's about do we have some kind of demand from our side that, okay, guys, you need to only work from home, or is candidate part, is candidate asking ki, okay, I can only work from home, something like this. I will come to all of you, but let me hand over to Vishal now. Yes.
Okay, thank you, Shish. From like work from home, like Sampath also mentioned, summarized basically, and then Bhavesh also has chipped in. As an HR fraternity, we like to interact with people, and well, I mean, like though it is happening digitally extensively, but being among them and being as a human being also we are like social we like love social gathering, and until when we are sitting in a meeting full of associates and team members, that's where the brainstorming, active brainstorming happens. That camaraderie, especially with your colleagues on digital, you have basically have to make an effort to reach out. You will dial in and like basically you will make an effort, you have an agenda and all, but like when you're sitting in office, many things happen automatically which we have not been valuing so far. So that digital can't replace that that is needed. From organization perspective also, as like Sampath rightly mentioned, they have been giving a lot of support options also. In my organization also, they have given option to buy chairs as well as monitors, and they have told that okay, they will be reimbursing it. So the emergence of organization as a social umbrella or like a community is what we're seeing in COVID significantly all across, where government has taken a role of more of a someone which is giving guideline, but more of white collar people like us are more sticking to the organization and taking inputs from them directly and more frequently. And that's where the mantra is that like if you are as the employer giving constant communication to your employees, whether it is positive negative, that's where the empathy as well as honesty is being reflected. Yes, there are challenges working from home, as like Kit, a point is being told, as well as especially from India scenario, we don't have any luxury of having bungalows where we are living. We most of us are living in 2 or 3 maximum BHKs, or lesser than that, as well or around it. So, and in case you have 2 kids or like your parents also, like you can't have your one room only blocked for yourself for the entire day. So that challenges is there, but the acceptability is also emerging. Earlier we used to make fun, or maybe like we will keep it somewhere back of our mind. Okay, this person is not equipped to handle these digital work and all. But it's seeing so frequently. I think we have let it go. Like I can see Ashi's daughter behind her. But the point is now, yeah, I think I'm totally fine with that. And what and it's just as simple like visiting his house and talking to him on the similar kind of serious topic. If I can do it at the same time, I think I can do it on the digital also. So that appetite of adapting to all these changes is increasing significantly. Uh, on the same side, these tools or GoToWebinar or Zoom and all, they are introducing also lot of inputs as well as products, so that it facilitates more in collaborating with each other, as well as in secure and more efficient manner. Just to summarize, like I definitely don't like working from home, but I think until the time it is mandated, it is necessary. I can manage my work, and my colleagues are also in the same fashion.
Yeah, I mean, see, what is coming from all of you is we are socially driven personality. And in India, especially in company, you must have seen Bhavesh and Vishal, like HP and Wipro. And Sampath, I don't mean to say, but yes, this IT company will lots of large population of the freshers, you know. Now you know how freshers stay in their home and all this. I'm not sure how they are coping up with this new normal. Great. So guys, I want to know, you know, one of the 1 or 2 skill set which is needed if you work from home. If that is tick mark as a yes, then we can decide if I can work from home. Anything you like to share?
See, I'll take a shot at that.
Sure.
Sorry, Sampath.
Sure. No, go
Yeah.
on, Bhavesh.
Okay, so I'll just take 30 seconds on this, and just one point that I want to make, and all of us have in some way or the other spoken about it. I think as Indians and culturally as well, we've always been shy in front of a camera when our personal family members walk past and all of that. I think that completely has to change, and everybody in the world accepts that today. So that's one aspect of it. Two, I think what some of us have not been able to cope up, and I would change my statement from some to a lot of us, including me, is the aspect of blurring of lines. So I think it's time for us to imagine as if we are going to office. So when we are going to office, we start at a particular time, we end at a particular time, and then we don't open our laptop. So I think that is exactly the discipline that we need to bring in our workspace at home as well. I think we need to take ample amount of breaks, which is including the lunch break. I don't remember when me or my spouse took a lunch break in the last 2 weeks. So I think those are simple things that all of us need to do if we want to last long. I mean, yes, it'll be awesome for us to increase the productivity, work for 12 hours, 13 hours at a stretch, have the breaks with when you're working itself, have your lunch, breakfast, everything when you're working. But I don't think we'll be able to last anytime more than 3 months if we continue to do so. So take a pause, break the boundaries, have a discipline of start and end, and I think that's how you need to balance your personal and your professional work. Yeah, Sampath.
Yeah, apart from what Bhavesh mentioned, if I had to pick just one competence or ability in a person at the junior level or whatever level, is the ability to work independently. Because in office, you can just walk up to your boss, walk up to your colleague and ask for things, but it's still possible. You can call up people, but maybe that is one thing. And at the managerial level, as I mentioned already, and I stress it, I think the ability to trust your team members and ability to forego that control part of it, I think, is what is going to be a key thing if we have to successfully work from home. That's my take.
Okay, great.
One point I want to mention here before you summarize, Ashish. When the sudden changes happened, like when every organization started asking employees to work from home, that happened because of COVID. But if we see situations before COVID, there were a lot of hesitations, a lot of brainstorming around it, whom we can allow or who should work from home or who should not, like basically, and this monitoring aspect, like whether the productivity would be there or not. Now we are like in starting of July, and we are facing, okay, everyone is at home, and productivity is either maintained or maybe a little bit has increased. But going forward, what we are seeing, or what I personally feel is, the from employee perspective, it will be more driven, like in case I'm being given this opportunity, I can continue working from home or not. An employer also would be more open, instead of irrespective of the role or any other aspects about it, which is a very, very important factor, because as an employee, in case you can ask for it, and employers would be more open. Just imagine if I'm sitting in Bangalore and hiring someone who's currently in Bhopal, or like, in Chandigarh. I think that's really, really a game changer for me going forward. And if there are multiple platforms which we can bring in to collaborate, as well as to take care of all the hesitations, probably that will close the loop. Yeah, these are my views.
Great. So, okay, I'm just looking at the clock also. You might be in the office, but yeah, working for office and office timing. Yeah. So right now it's 11:42. We'll start Q&A 11:50. We have 8 minutes. Okay, and three of you will break up the timing equally. Okay, I will cover. I will take up. Four questions, okay? And if we can just summarize quickly, what can be your input on this? So what we touch upon is, remote working, work from home, digital working, and we talked about the reskilling and upskilling. So the four question I want to pick up now and need your input. One is about the salary. Do you think compensation structure will be changed? That's one. What about the job titles? Will people will look for a job title, or they will say, guys, I don't care. We already talked about the new jobs and all. And so the two things, one about compensation, second is about job title, and third is how much we will still focus on the degree, education, premier institute, or taking up some past companies and XYZ. Yeah. So three question, I want three of you to take it over in 3 minutes, answer it, and then 11:50 we'll start Q&A. Let's me reshuffle. Let's start with Vishal.
All right, Ashish. So, what I feel about the salary structure perspective, it definitely will bring a lot of variation. What we learned from 2008 crisis was there was extreme focus on variable or like your billing ability or like your ability to bring profit for the organization, and that got adjusted into your compensation also. Similar way, my view is that salary structure this time also will change in a way, maybe like from the productivity perspective, or maybe different segments for different audiences, like maybe different for your entry level associates and maybe different for your middle to higher level as well. Job titles perspective, I also feel like job title as well as education institute wise, probably my view is that it will dilute. There would be extreme focus on evaluation, skill set evaluation at the time of interview. Um, we are already talking about like people are already talking about whether it is making sense to go to those colleges which are like, say, asking fortune of your money, like, in as a fees. Is it really making sense when we have to all study at home? So if that trend picks up, then in the organization perspective also we would be seeing multiple things where people would be more relying on what you have learned so far by yourself, and then deciding your salary or like maybe your title accordingly. There would be more adaptability or more acceptance for the freelancing as well as gig workers, what we're calling. And so the economic perspective, these are the changes what I feel we will be seeing.
Yeah, Vishal, Bhavesh, you can start now.
Sure, sure, yeah. So Vishal has covered most of it, and I'll kind of just touch upon the three questions that you've asked. So from a salary perspective, I think more than the compensation being fixed or variable, I think what is the larger question that we need to look at is our ability to measure productivity. I think that is what is going to make a difference. How do we build a culture which is trustworthy, accountable, and full of integrity? I think the focus of all the organizations will shift from input and time based to outcome and output based. What I'm trying to typically say is that we'll have to do away with the whole aspect of what am I spending in terms of the number of hours. I think all of the goal sheets will very soon change to what is the final outcome and what is the output basis the same. So I think the whole bouquet of compensation changing or not changing will depend on the strategy of the organization, and I think it's a journey which will make organizations either agile or stay behind in the race. From a job title perspective, I kind of completely echo with what Vishal had to say. So while the job titles may not change, but what will change is the definitions or the evaluation aspect of it. What we expected out of a manager of the past perhaps will not be what we'll expect a manager of the future. And likewise for qualifications and degrees, I think a lot will matter now on not just the degree and qualifications that you bring into the table, but the aspect of being able to flex your schedule, flex your ability to be able to adapt to the sudden change and be able to take up new roles as and when the demand arises. And those are the few aspects that will make a difference.
Yes, Sampath.
Well, the good thing about going lost is most of the things are already said. But just my take on salary, yes, salary will reduce. I mean, if you look at the quantum, majority of the companies, in fact, a lot of people are saying you're lucky if you have a job. So I have had reactions from people where there is a cut of 30%, even at junior levels, who have said, I'm happy that I have a job. So the mindset about salaries is changing. There is no doubt about it. And if what I read recently is to be believed, unfortunately, the middle level, the middle layer of, say, in an Indian context, 30 to 50 lakhs type of a thing might be the majority hit, because a lot of companies are relooking at replacing these with the freshers. And that's unfortunate, but that's the truth. If you have not upskilled yourself in the past 15 to 20 years, then you don't have anybody else to blame, because things were different then and things are different now. Every company is here to make profits, and we cannot blame the companies for it. If I look at Germany, for example, there is a reduction in the salary, but government takes care of it, and you have to work less. And for them, working less is actually working less, unlike we Indians. But in India, possibly things will change. We will have lesser people, lesser salary, but more work, and that's what we all have discussed till now. Titles, well, as Bhavesh and Vishal rightly put, titles might change. But if I'm looking at from a candidate perspective, and I'm sure Bhavesh would possibly have seen it. When I used to work in recruitment in software companies, there were people who are demanding, I want a title of a senior software engineer or whatever. But my guess today would be not that. I don't think people would be demanding that. That's my take. And colleges, I fully agree with Vishal. I don't think there will be major difference between the so-called tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 institutes, and the companies may not really look into that. That's my take.
Right, so we still have, I think that's really good input, and all these things will have no boundary. I mean, it will be boundaryless, but we'll look for only guys. Okay, this is my question. Can you answer? This is my job. Can you do it? That's the end of the story. We didn't touch upon the gig. Okay, so in a quick, you just say percentage wise, do you think gig economy will rule the corporate? What percentage do you believe in? Would you like gig workforce, I mean, they will not be on the full time on your payroll. Okay, so what percentage of people you are looking to hire, or company will have gig workforce in the organization? What percentage do you think will be?
Well, if I can start with that, since I feel manufacturing will not be so much, considering the fact that we have majority or at least 50% of the people on the shop floor, most of the companies still, because we are still not smart factories. So my take is it could vary from the industry to industry. It could be slightly higher in the software side because you can hire people based on projects, but it will be slightly lower on the manufacturing side. And if you personally ask me, most of the functions, it can run on at least a 60-40, 60% being a permanent workforce and 40% being just a guesstimate as of now. 60-40 is what I would say.
Vishal?
Oh, yeah, so I think I agree with Sampath. Especially it will depend on the industry wise also. These new emerging business models probably will have a very high number of gig workers. We are seeing like food technology as well as delivery options also. And I don't see much changes in the already structured business models like IT services and all. Maybe 5 to 10% increase maximum, because they also have to manage and they have to also bring additional infrastructure around it. And like very less impact I'm seeing in manufacturing kind of stuff. Like I totally agree with Sampath, because it need to be there within the premises, as well as the nature of work is that you can't have a varieties of associates into it. Yeah, these are my views.
Yeah, Bhavesh.
Second, I mean, none of us have seen the future. I think we don't even know what's going to happen tomorrow. So I will want to play safe here and perhaps not give out a number. But what I can definitely say and agree to both the other panelists as well, that gig is the future of work, and more so with the aspect of the flexibility, the work from home, the work anytime as far as the output is concerned. So I think all that will come into play. But yeah, again, I mean, going back to what was said, aspects like hospitality, manufacturing, banking, those are industries where you can't really go on the gig side of it. Having said this, with respect to consulting, IT services, and those are the industries where organizations will look at rejigging their model, will look at how much of contractual workforce versus permanent workforce, how much of that could be part-time options. I think we've not touched upon the whole aspect of part-time as a country. I mean, I can want to talk about the country as a whole. I think that's one section which I see is going to take a major chunk of work, and especially the homemakers who've been there and not being able to manage work plus office in terms of, I think those are the sections of people who will be much more interested in trying to take up a new job, which allows them the flexibility.
Okay, great. So thanks all of you. I think yes. So we are starting Q&A. So great input from all of you. We touch upon almost all the point. Yeah, partially touch upon few point. Okay. So here is the first question. I'm starting from the last one, which is posted just now. It is related to work from home. We did talk about it, but question is on, okay, fine. It may not fit everyone. Like Sampath said, not every industry family also need to cope up with this. So question is, okay, let's talk about the organization output. Uh, how do we look into the engagement part, the employee satisfaction, and employee retention also? Do you think any one of the factor will have a huge impact on work from home part? Because right now it is kind of forcefully it is said, but later on, I don't know, people will decide I want to go for a company which doesn't have work from home, or I want to go for a company which has a different kind of work from home. I don't know. I mean, like Bhavesh said, we don't know what will happen future. Business can change, people will can change their mind also. So anybody would like to give a thought? So it's more related with employee satisfaction, productivity will touch upon, employee experience, and the retention part.
See, I'll take a shot at that. And to be honest, Ashish, the whole change dynamics has been on the positive side. Be it the dynamics on productivity, a lot of organizations have gone on record stating that what the productivity has increased. From an employee engagement perspective as well, I personally haven't seen the amount of webinars or cultural engagement programs or online quizzes, online antaksharis, you name it, and the companies have it. I mean, if you want to go to LinkedIn or Google, you will kind of have thousands of such opportunities to interact, to contribute, to work together. I think engagement has again taken a far better shape than what it was with us being in person. Uh, from a retention perspective as well, Sampath did touch upon the aspect that it's not going to be a candidate's market to some extent. So now a candidate will not decide whether I want a specific role, I want a specific organization, I will only do so and so. I think it's going to be much more business driven, organization driven, and they're the ones who are going to decide in terms of which are the kind of workforce that we need in our repertoire. But apart from that, I think at least for now, at least for the next 6-7 months, I see productivity increasing, engagement increasing as never before, and retention obviously being at its highest. Nobody's talking about those so-called retention reviews or discussions. I mean, the belongingness to the organizations for people who wanted to leave a couple of months ago have completely changed, and they are the ones who are actually branding the organization like they have never done before. So that's my take.
Great. Maybe the application form, one of the tick mark would be there. Okay, decide work from home, yes or no.
Should be.
Yeah, even in job site also, one tick mark will be created. Decide work from home, yes or no.
In
Great.
fact,
Okay.
just to corroborate, I in fact saw a couple of advertisements from an organization asking for 400 people to work from home. So they wanted those people to sign a contract only for work from home. So
Oh,
those
Yeah, in fact,
advertisements will also come.
I think some companies even have gone on board to say that they're going to save a lot of money because they don't need to pay rentals, and in a place like Bangalore, for example, it's huge money, and they
It's
can
huge money.
maybe give a part of it to the employees. And some of the employees are also happy about it because the rentals in Bangalore, for example, is huge. I can go back home and work at a very peaceful thing. Yeah. That's true.
so such
Just to add
things.
one small point with what Bhave said, I also firmly believe that employee satisfaction and employee engagement is only going to improve, provided the companies really take care of the employees and have trust. Yeah, I don't think that's going to be negative. Yeah.
Yeah, so such thing will create a lot of this gig economy also, because and there will be some company like Ola and Uber, they will have everything, but they will say, guys, we don't have office.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
So I mean, so we don't know what will be, but yeah, so certainly good for people like us, can do a lot of things sitting at home. Great. I take the another question. So here is the question. We touch upon the work from home. Okay, how engagement will increase? Please explain. No employee will have contact with each other. So we already answered Kunal that it's a more engagement happening. If you see, a lot of people are being more engaged earlier. What we used to struggle to get only 15 people for some engagement activity. Now there are more than 50 or 60 people on the Zoom. You can see, or the Cisco WebEx. Yeah. Work from home, another question. Let me see whether we covered what can be possible unconventional measuring yardstick and reward strategy that can be considered to drive work from home productivity. I doubt because salary anyway is being reduced. So I'm not sure whether work from home allowances will be there or not. Uh, Okay, this question from coming from Madan. I think Vishal and Bhavesh can take it up because related to IT. This is related to IT's consulting company. How would be the hiring projection for next 1 year? Majorly company depending on US and Europe client.
Yeah, I'll answer that. So number wise, because the very fact is that most of the companies, most of the industries are trying to survive. The whole objective right now is to survive the business model and save jobs right now. And if you're not making money, we are hearing so much of news about layoffs and all, or businesses closing down. Whether it is organization or individual, everyone is trying to conserve cash. We don't know what future has for us, and it's very big uncertain. So, in this very situation, if you are investing or you are taking extra cost right now, probably those structured business may not be interested at huge number. We are seeing most of the data joining where we already given the offer letter in majority of the IT companies. They are delaying it. They're delaying it significantly in order to have more clarity about the businesses so that they can deploy these people. My take is that for next 6 to 8 months, the numbers would be very minimalistic, and probably it will start scaling up as more business settle and they start having more certainty, so that the business will reach to top down at the bottom line also. Yeah, that's my view.
So,
Bhavesh, would you like to just take 60 seconds to answer?
yeah, sure. So I kind of echo Vishal's thoughts. So hiring will depend primarily upon the kind of businesses that the organizations are getting. So from a software services perspective, let's say if I get a client who requires a specific skill set, that's the time when organizations will start looking at hiring. But considering the situation, the clients themselves are very wary of trying to sign a new deal. Everybody's trying to take a pause and try to see, what can we delay this by another 6 months, so on and so forth. Be it implementation, be it launching a new tool within the organization, and so on and so forth. So more than the external hiring, what I think all of us will be looking forward to is the aspect of internal mobility and internal redeployment. I think organizations have gone far and beyond to make it absolutely mandatory for all the hiring teams to try and see how can we ensure that all the requirements that are open need to be fulfilled with the internal set of folks that we have on bench, which means bench management becomes extremely critical. Learning teams will come into play because there will obviously be a gap which has to be mapped to be able to meet those demands of the customers. So yeah, so that's how it's going to work out.
Thanks, Bhavesh and Vishal. So we are already out of overshooting the time. So let me pick up, some question we can, quickly just read it, okay? And, there is a short answer for this. What to do when candidate still demand 30% hike? Yes, candidate demand anything, but company need to have budget to pay. Salary already being cut off. So yes, let them demand. It's depend upon TA head or CHR how to deal during layoff. Yeah, that's very critical question, but cannot be covered now because it needs some more time. We talked about the engagement. We talked about hiring. Uh, there is one question from Rajaram. Is not the challenge before HR to identify person to be allowed employee to work from home? Rajaram, it's more to do with nature of job. Yes, and manager will always oversee that. Nothing to do with HR. Yeah, HR can decide work from home or not. What is the expectation of job market to be corrected in near future? We already got input from Bhavesh and Vishal. Monica saying I'm from XYZ firm. We are not getting requirement from client last 3 months. Yes, Monica, you need to wait. Requirement will come. Okay, so hiring would slow down for next 1 year. Yes, we already got the answer from Bhavesh and Vishal how it will go. Guys, so that was just some of our all question. If I haven't answered, Vasundhara will be collating all of them and then we'll try to, take the input from our panelists. So closing remark, guys, start with Sampath, then Bhavesh, then Vishal.
Well, since we have already overshot the time, just a closing remark is, yeah, the situation is bad, but each one of us can make it good to ourselves. I've read multiple examples, multiple real life examples where people have actually used this opportunity to do something what they really wanted to do in life. And let's do that. And if at all some of us get impacted by the jobs, so be it. There are better things to do in life. Thank you.
Thanks, Apat. So see, for me, I think we've all been talking about when do we go to office and whether this is the new normal and all of that. And there have been various reports on this aspect. For me personally, again, I somehow don't feel that this is going to be the new normal. Times will change. Man being a social animal, he needs to interact, he needs to collaborate, to laugh, to share and care. I mean, I think the coffee breaks, the high fives, the smiles, I don't personally think is a thing of the past, not yet at least. So organization cultures will obviously need to be built, and they can't be built on online meetings of Zoom, Skype, or WebEx. I think it takes much more than that. So what's happened with virtue of this pandemic is I think it's also allowed us the time to pause and hit the reset button. The birds have started chirping, the animals have reclaimed the righteous land, traffic and pollution has taken care of themselves, and I think we as individuals have started bonding with our families much more than we did in the past. I think we need to coexist with nature, and that's something that is the biggest learning that all of us have got by virtue of this pandemic. I want to just end with a beautiful rendition that I heard, I think, a couple of months back from Amitabh, which said that मुश्किल बहुत है मगर वक्त ही तो है गुजर जाएगा. Thanks.
Yeah, my take is like a lot of things are changing, and especially it's safe to say that it is the right time to invest in yourself. As an individual, you are the only brand you should care, especially at this point of time. Increase your digital literacy. Uh, Develop your complementary skill set. Increase the level of acceptability and the brand acceptability, what you may have in the market. Hang in there 5 to 6 months or maybe a little bit more till the time government say, okay, we have the solution. This will pass, and when we will emerge, probably you, whether it is individual or the organization, they will be better informed, a better human. That's the expectation. Yeah.
Thanks. So something from my side, guys, reset the priorities, spend less, save more. And whatever company is saying, please feel, anticipate, listen, and follow it. Nothing else. This is not the time to negotiate and, put your terms condition. Okay. And this is for employer as well. Yeah. Okay, great. So it's a nice conversation with all of you. And we got a lot of learning. So looking forward to catch up with you once again, everywhere, anywhere, because we are in the world of virtual. Great. Over to Vasundhara from ST team.
Yeah, thank you everyone for joining Shine HR Live. It was great to have such a great audience and panelists today. We will come up with our next session soon. Thank you. Thanks for attending the Shine HR Live.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Guys.
and bye, Bhavesh, Vishal, and Ashish. Thank you.
Nice
Good day.
to meet you.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Thanks, Apat.
Thank you, Ashish.
Bye bye.